Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beacon TVL Show, your beacon in the world of decentralized finance. I'm your host, Professor Chris, the DeFi professor, and I'm here for another fantastic show in 2026 with a great panel to educate the users of our show, our dear users, in the world of on-chain investing. Got a great panel here. I didn't know that they actually had never been together on panel before. We've got Luke, head of growth at Taoshi. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How are you, Chris? Always happy to be back on the panel.
Yeah, man, it's a blessing to have you here. Always happy to see you. Thank you for being here and welcome. Happy New Year. This is the first time we've been together in
Yes, Happy New Year to you as
2026.
well, my good
Thank you,
friend.
sir. Back on with us after being on the recap show as well as the first. Were you on the first show? Yes, you're on last week's show. Actually, no, you were 2 weeks ago. You were on the last show of the year. We got world-renowned DJ. Got Robert Williams. How are you, sir?
Good. Glad to be here. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Let me just
Yeah.
get this link out here for to make sure that we are all on the socials, making sure everybody is ready to roll. I gotta make sure that I don't think I'm on. Is Den.show working? Den.show is live. Perfect. Good to see. And again, we're here to support all of our decentralized on-chain media platforms. That is retake.tv, den.show, Zora, blaze.stream, and several others that are out there that are broadcasting us, including YouTube and Twitch. So thanks to everybody for your support. Go out and support digital on-chain media. Actually, I was accepted into a really cool cohort called TradFi with roughly about 50 to 100 other creators, kind of focused on Base Chain. Base has been very generous to support them. So shout out to the TradFi cohort number 1 put together by Rachel Wilkins from Good Times Co. Was just in there. Going to go back there after this show. But just wanted to say welcome to them, to the new people I'm meeting there, and hello to all of you out there possibly watching in that audience. So, gentlemen, we have had a very interesting week. All I can really say is just if we just look at where we are at with oops, that's not, this is me. I love how it didn't save any of that stuff when in the pre-production when I put that together. Um, Guys, are we back? Are we
We are.
back at 97K Bitcoin? Luke, your trading mind, tell me a little bit more about your thoughts about, and, with working at Taoshi with signals, what are we seeing here, brother?
Yeah, I think the consensus internally has been long from like mid to low 80s. Let's see. Let me take a look at the chart. Yeah, well, that might be a little aggressive to say we were all long from low 80s. I would say, talking with our team and seeing some of the performance from our top signals come in, really, we started to see a bullish bias probably start to turn, probably right around the end of the year, kind of around the 87,000 mark. I personally bought some spot, not a significant like allocation, just a little bit around like I think in between 87 and 92, just kind of expecting that there would be a move up. There was a pretty big bullish divergence across multiple time frames, and like the 1 day, the 3 day, and I think we're finally starting to see this play out. I mean, we do, this is breaking out of like a 2+ month range here as well, where we were kind of trapped in between 94 and 80, 84 really. So pretty brutal. I think I mean, you could go online and see a lot of like the liquidation headlights, like so like another $100 million in crypto liquidations. So hopefully we're finally establishing some sort of trend. I think that if we continue to move up, it'll probably be pretty quick. We've been playing around with this experimental kind of forecast indicator, which has been pretty good so far, just on the Bitcoin daily price. Right now, it has price kind of running up to about 108K before stalling out, but it's just an experiment, so just sharing for fun.
Not
Yeah, I
financial
mean, it's
advice, obviously.
not financial advice, yeah. So obviously, really exciting. It's good to kind of see a move up. I think people are definitely been deprived. You see the sentiment online. It's like we're probably up what like 8 to 10% in the new year, and people are throwing a party. So it's good to see. I think Max Payne is up though, so I'd place my bets on at least continued up to probably the, above 100K, and then we'll see. I'm not sure if we break all-time high or if this is a relief rally, but it feels good in the short term, right? So take it.
Yeah, it definitely feels good in the short term. Robert, I wanted to get your thoughts on this too. Not only are we seeing, let's see, so if we go back, I mean, we're seeing 6.2 up, 5.2 and 3.9 in the 24-hour. XRP not really reacting the way that we thought that they would, to be quite honest, but seeing Solana inching back towards that $150 level is fairly bullish news, but we'll talk more about the other parts of the news that could affect that soon. What are your thoughts mainly about what we're seeing here, not only just on the majors, but if we look at bubbles for today? Again, why is Asset Dash up 52.7?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's old school.
That's super old school.
What is River? I don't even know what River is.
River is something I have never heard of before. I'm
Pretty
assuming
small.
they're a new platform. Yeah, 627 million market cap. So, I mean, they're getting some bids, but not sure how. Well, I mean, $32 on the. Interesting. Your thoughts, though?
Yeah. What is it like? It's the 50-week moving average. We need to retest.
Yeah. So we did see a golden cross signal a week and a half ago. So maybe this is kind of where we're just kind of seeing where we land from here. But keep going.
No, yeah, and I think BTC dominance is like around 59%, but just kind of stalling around there. Probably it ticked up a little bit with this recent pump to 97. But yeah, I think it's just about how this holds up. I mean, if we end up retesting the 50-week moving average at around 100K, and then break past it, and then retest it, I mean, then it's game on, right? But I think right now it's just a relief rally until proven otherwise.
I love that. I love that term. Absolutely, a relief rally.
That's the best perspective. Relief rally until proven otherwise. I mean, also too. I mean, it'd be remiss to not talk about gold and silver. I mean,
yes,
huge,
silver above
move.
$90.
Just incredible stuff. You would think that maybe there would be some rotation, down kind of the risk chain, but we'll see.
And I feel bad because I should be on CoinMarketCap. Full transparency, I'm an approved CoinMarketCap content creator now, so I should be using CoinMarketCap to show more of this stuff, just as a thank you for them. But what I'm looking for, you're right. Let's see if silver is listed. There we go. $5 trillion now in the market cap of silver. $91 for silver. This is definitely not something I had on my bingo card anytime for the last 2 years. So I don't have a huge bag of silver. Do either of you actually hold silver?
No, I don't hold any precious metals.
No, it's funny you say it. I was at an event in Florida a couple weeks ago, and let's see, I guess I was there on December 3rd. Price was $58, and one of the analysts there, it was very an event that for a lot of there's CNBC speakers, Fox Business guys who come on and talk stuff like that. And one of the guys who was a precious metal guy was like, silver's going to $100 soon. And I was like, come on, give me a break. No way. And here we are 6 weeks later, and silver's $91, just up in a straight line since. So just
it's
crazy.
Interesting. We're in a weird spot, right? Precious metals at an all-time high, stock market at an all-time high. We've got debt at an all-time high. We've got people in pain and all of this stuff at all-time highs. It's a very interesting intersection of where all of these are going to come together. So really the better question is, from a risk market standpoint, where do we go from here? One thing we've talked about is the movement of, specifically having the integration of TradFi into DeFi, because from 2018 to 2025 was the innovation, the disruption, the experimentation, the ideation of a lot of things that are now going to be integrated into DeFi, thanks to Visa and MasterCard, thanks to the hard work of groups like Uniswap, Jupiter, even Consensus, Chainlink. There's a bunch of people who have brought institutions on chain now, and now we're going to see full integration of that moving forward. One thing I wanted to bring up, and because half of this stuff didn't happen, we didn't get it. We got a jobs report last week which showed stronger jobs than what we thought. We were supposed to get a ruling from the Supreme Court on the Trump tariffs, which was postponed from, I believe, January 6th to today. And again, they pushed it. So they're not going to talk about it, which could have been, frankly, very interesting for the overall broader geo and macroeconomic structure. And speaking of structure, the Clarity Act was supposed to be voted on, I believe, tomorrow, but that's now been pushed to the 26th. But we can talk a little bit about how the Clarity Act is going to look. And one big problem that seems to have kind of arisen is that possibly Coinbase could be pulling support for the Clarity Act over a stablecoin rewards ban. This actually is big because Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, has been spending a lot of time on Capitol Hill, along with Vlad Tena from Robinhood and some other major CEOs, to try and talk with senators and House reps to really try and get them to see the reason why, crypto in the U.S., especially with President Trump wanting the U.S. to be the leader in crypto worldwide, why this bill is so important. To the point that if they pull support for this, this may not get passed this year. I mean, it could be 2027 or beyond, but because they'll probably put it in the bin and try again later. Senator Tim Scott put out the entire bill, which is 278 pages. I'll add the link if anybody wants it. I'm going to look specifically here at page 189. And this is the part that's the most contentious part for Coinbase. So the idea with the Genius Act is that you can't have any yield-bearing stablecoins. Fine, they've made that a reality. Some algorithmic stablecoins that are interest-bearing are now no longer doing what they're doing in plain sight. But one thing that they've done is they've moved to the word rewards. And rewards are not yield-bearing stablecoins. I mean, it's not yield, right? It's rewards, I think, is what the point they've made and have successfully pushed into Capitol Hill. So I'll start with you, Luke. The idea is that they are fine with there being rewards, but it cannot be done to people who are just holding stablecoins. They have to be in an act where they have to be either trading the stablecoin, staking the stablecoin, or being a liquidity provider with stablecoins. And this is a real problem for some reason. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. This is a big problem for Coinbase because they think that this is where the quote-unquote Trojan horse of all of what the banking lobby wants to push through is going to happen here. Because another part of the bill, and it's not on this page, but any holding is only going to be available to licensed banks. Caveat here, Coinbase, Ripple, Paxos, PayPal, and even World Liberty Financial have all applied for bank trust licenses with the OCC. Now, everyone except World Liberty and PayPal have gotten their license conditionally. So there's that. ATM withdrawals through this act, $3,500 max, and privacy is allowed as long as the asset in question, these stablecoins or whatever crypto or digital asset, complies with international rules. So I'll start with you, Luke. Do you think that with this issue, if it doesn't pass, is that bad for the crypto industry?
I would say no. I mean, I think that, I think one of the really good benefits that Coinbase offers right now is the fact that you can just put stable coins in there and earn, like 3.5% APY on your USDC or whatever the current rate is based on interest rates. it's something like I do it. I'm someone who has a Coinbase credit card, and you can raise your Bitcoin back rate based on how much USDC you hold, or in general just assets, not necessarily USDC. But I mean, I think it obviously, like, big banks aren't going to want that, because then you're not putting your own fiat dollars in a bank to, have a high yield savings account or in a checking account, when you're instead putting them in Coinbase. I mean, I kind of think it's BS to pull that out. Like, I wouldn't want them to, say, okay, you can't put your stable coins in Coinbase and get a yield on it in rewards just for holding it there. Like, it seems kind of ridiculous to me.
Any thoughts, Robert?
I mean, if they can if they're already circumventing that by offering rewards, I mean, if there's absolutely no technicality they can work with to still offer rewards / yield, then yeah, I mean, I can see why they would take it off the table. But I think it's a tough issue, because it would be really bad in the sense for crypto, because this is arguably the last blocker that's blocking real institutional capital from coming in, right? It's as it's titled, clarity is what they need to really start to deploy capital. So, I think with the current valuation of the crypto market at 3.2 trillion, or where more or less right now, and with all the oversaturation of projects that are out there, I think the only chance for there to be any sort of alt season or continued rally for Bitcoin and Ethereum or Solana is if this passes. So I think Polymarket has it like at 55, 56 now. Yeah. So
yeah, it was at 22 or 19% earlier yesterday. So the fact that they've pushed it back to, I think, to the 26 is the earliest that they'll even talk about it in committee in the House for this is going to be very interesting. There's going to be a lot of jockeying here.
I would be very surprised if it doesn't pass. I think the midterms depend on it also.
Yes.
I think if there's no major crypto rally, or at least a move, in that direction, like, it's going to be, I think it's going to be really tough for Trump to have any sort of sway in the midterms. I think he really, went for the crypto base when he was, we helped. I mean, I didn't vote personally, but a lot of people helped him get elected. A lot of crypto interests, including Coinbase and other exchanges, donated quite a bit to his campaign and to other members of Congress. So, I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to win if they don't pass this. So I think there's a lot on the line, and I think they'll find a way to compromise and push it through.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a huge point. Again, we're not a politics show, but it is going to be very telling this year, Luke, about how many things that are crypto related will be on dockets everywhere, right? Because this is going to be really just a push, a show, not a show of force, but a push to really bring as much of what we're seeing being built here on chain. It's not on the agenda, but SEC Chair Paul Atkins even said 18 to 24 months, everything's going to be on chain. That's a very bold statement from someone who, his predecessor a year ago, had a very different view of the crypto landscape. So, we went from crypto is evil, used by traffickers, and it's a tool for terrorists, to now being the official accounting for the U.S. economic and labor data. We have, stablecoin rules. We have institutions coming on chain soon, and this is the part that they haven't talked about yet. Most likely, we're going to hear an EO from President Trump giving any U.S.-based crypto company 0% business tax, retroactive to the first of probably this year, not last year. But That's why we're seeing so much movement. And I think it also is telling to the fact that that's why all of the big players in this space for stablecoins, meaning Circle, meaning Coinbase, not Tether, but other parts of representatives of Tether, they're all trying to either move to the US or they are getting US bank trust licenses because they understand the way that the game is going to be played, and they get to beat the banks at their own game, honestly. So I think that's what's going to happen moving forward. But, and I think, and you guys mentioned it well, relief rally, right? Did I lose Luke? Oh, I was like, I lost Luke. Did I lose everyone?
I think so. Yeah, I think it dropped both of us off.
Oh, wonderful. Yay, that's fantastic. I'll wait for Robert to get back. How unfortunate.
I saw I was frozen. Looks like
okay.
Looks like I still might be frozen, but
no, you're good.
You
you're good.
right?
I see you just fine. Looks great. One thing I'll move to while we wait for Robert to get back. There's a lot of good news coming in with regards to the ETH validator queue. And I think this is a strong signal specifically for what's going to happen moving forward with regards to institutions. Because as much as Ethereum and Solana are playing nicely together, they're still very much in a war to get institutional attention. Uh-oh. Crazy. You know, I go and I get a nice countdown, I get a nice intro video, and suddenly everything is breaking. So I apologize, everyone. Normally these things don't happen. It's been great for the last 3 episodes at least. So continuing on with the validator queue, let me reach out to Robert and see what happened. But with this queue, after October 10th, after like November 1st even, Luke, there are a lot of people running for the exits, specifically on unstaking in terms of getting out. But now that shows here September, yeah. That's interesting that so much of this happened before October 10th. But it now means that there are very few people in the exit queue because there is a cooldown period. If you stake with an Ethereum validator, you have to wait 14 to 21 days to get out of that. And now people are coming back in record numbers, very large amounts to come back in here. So, I think this is great news. Let me get Robert back in.
I keep freezing up, so I'm not sure if I'm going to hold up here.
I know you're fine. I mean, it seems like it's working just fine. So, you haven't frozen for me at all. So I see you just fine on my end. So,
Okay.
But Robert, we were talking about the ETH validator queue being very, very stable in terms of people not leaving, but more people coming back in, staking their Ethereum long. This is a huge signal, at least to me, that there's going to be more confidence with ETH in the overall institutional sector. Canton Network, one we've talked about that I'm fairly bullish on. We'll talk more about Canton in just a minute, but big news. So the rest of the next 20 minutes, we're just going to talk about a lot of really interesting events that are happening that are showing that TradFi is being brought into our Web3 DeFi umbrella is really the best way to put it. Did either of you guys see the Golden Globes on Sunday?
I did not know.
I didn't watch, but I heard about,
Exactly.
I don't want to bury the lead.
No, you're fine. Let's get this up here. This is going to become a regular thing, guys. The way that this was framed, on how they're using it, is going to be a fascinating use case moving forward. So, it looks like Good Hang with Amy Poehler won the first podcast Golden Globe ever. Congratulations to her, by the way, that now podcasts are now part of the Golden Globes, guys. So one day, TVL Show maybe gets on the Golden Globes if we keep doing the right things. Shout out to everybody who's watching. But yeah, this is great. But the other part that was interesting, this is from Shane Copland, CEO of Polymarket. These are live Polymarket market data votes. And the best part about this is, and I doubt this was free, but in the event that they start making some of these free in exchange for TV time, could you imagine the live audience forecasting you could do based on that? Like if you happen to, because I'm guessing that this wasn't free, but in the event that it was free for something like the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the Grammys, whatever's out there, they're not going to do it for sports because that's a big moneymaker for them. But yeah, this kind of blew my mind. Robert, I'll start with you. Seeing Polymarket, good old Polymarket, born on Polygon Layer 2, a part of the Golden Globes on broadcast television on CBS. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive actually. That's kind of the kind of thing you would think would be like a market top indicator.
This is top signal. Ship it up, pack it in, guys. We're done. Ultimate top signal, being on the Golden Globes. Oh man!
But the cool thing is that it follows this trend that we're seeing of adoption, and positive news and positive regulation that really isn't moving the market that much. So it's almost like it's happening in reverse. All these things that are really positive that would previously be maybe top indicators, right, are actually just maybe tailwinds, for a brighter future.
Yeah, Luke, what do you think about this? I mean, Kalshi also being a big part of broadcast TV with their work with CNN, Yahoo, and a couple other big names. We're going to start seeing more of this information available, not just for us to vote on, but also for businesses to get the heat map for.
Yeah, I think I would echo a lot of Robert's comments. I think, maybe we do start to kind of shift the way we think and think about these things more as tailwinds as markets mature. I mean, I think that, honestly, I think Polymarket kind of does a lot of shitty stuff in a lot of ways. Like they do a lot of really low level engagement baiting, and I think they kind of try and control like narratives in a negative way. But also the level of accuracy you do see in some of these predictions is really impressive, and I think that they have been out in kind of the forefront of some of these, not even just necessarily the Golden Globes, but a lot of like global events where they're kind of ahead of the curve. So it's cool to see too. I mean, I think in general, as we kind of build more of these blockchain-based projects like Polymarket being based on Polygon, I think it is obviously going to help us help the industry mature, help us legitimize something that's generally a theme I feel like I talk about every time I'm on this show, is like the legitimacy of blockchain projects.
Exactly.
However, like I said, I wish that they would, push a more legitimate brand that wasn't just totally focused on engagement. But, hey, it works. It works for them, clearly.
Are you saying that because someone opened a market before Nicolas Maduro was seized and put down a $40,000 inside bet?
I didn't even get to that part. There's some shady stuff that goes on.
No, there is. There's a lot of washing. There's a lot of farming. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, but I want to jump in here and say, like, Polymarket. I mean, when it comes to, there's some general things that can be fun on a Polymarket, right? That like people can just vote on, where there might not be necessarily like an insider angle, but it inherently lends itself to this sort of insider trading type mechanism, because when it comes to moving the odds like in a significant way, like the people who are placing the bets are the ones who have the information.
It's true. That's true.
That's the only way that you reach like near certainty on Polymarket, right? Is if you have somebody with insider information or exclusive information placing those bets. I mean, otherwise everyone's just guessing, right?
No, yeah, that's why they're called prediction markets, right? We're all just quote unquote predicting on what might happen. So, no, I think you're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. As much as we can fade Polymarket or Polymarket arbitrage bots or any of these other things that are going on, because for me, I want this to succeed. I want blockchain-based tech to be out there in the mainstream, but they're going to have to figure out a way to rein in how people are making a lot of money, if I'm being very honest, on playing and washing some of these results. If they can get that under control, then I think, I mean, it's a multi hundreds of $billion business. And I think that's where it's going to come to. The fact that prediction markets are exploding across multiple ecosystems, along with perp dexes. And with Kalshi being, they've tokenized all their events. Polymarket's still working on it, but it's all coming together. Having tokenized events that people can speculate on. I mean, this is the stuff that dreams are made of if you're a bookie, but or if you're just a wholesome predictor, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
But that's a great point. Yes.
They're gonna have to KYC. That's the only way.
Yep, that's what they're gonna have to do, and it's gonna suck, but that's unfortunately the best way to maintain, I think, the authenticity of it while still maintaining a decentralization part. Once we start getting like the new layers, like there are people building zero knowledge proof layers on top of this stuff, API layers so that agents can participate. Oh yeah, my brain's gonna melt off of all this. But speaking of Polygon, I think this week kind of belongs to Polygon outside of the overall government information. So last on the 9th, the 8th, sorry, they announced the open money stack. I don't know if you're on this show with Keiko from Pith, but Robert, but we kind of laughed at the fact that Sandeep Naliwal decided to say that because he had the most shares in the DAO, that he was just going to take over as CEO of the foundation and just start pushing ideas. Give him credit. He's been putting in the work. They've been doing a lot of interesting things. And Polygon overall has made a lot of claims that they're going to bring, 105,000 TPS to Polygon Layer 2 soon. Pol token, POL, going to gain a lot of utility and just a lot of great things to do with just holding it. So this is their open money stack. So they have two really good things going for them. The first being their Lindy. They've been around forever. And the second is the Polygon Ag layer, which is part of their unified liquidity layer for anyone who integrates their CDK or any of the tech inside of their chain development kit. That's the CDK. So they've now created this whole applications, financial services, payments network, and blockchain rails. That's something they announced last week. Then they said, watch out for January 13th. And I was like, what could they possibly do to really just kind of put this over the top? And the only thing I could think of was they just make it more accessible, because that's what Uniswap, that's what Jupiter, and a couple other groups have been doing, is to try and make a lot of this abstracted away from the user and bringing new people into the system. My main worry, guys, was how are they going to do this in a way that was going to bring in normies? Well, this one had me honestly pretty shocked. 1 second. So they announced yesterday they acquired CoinMe, which is an on-ramp, off-ramp platform already operating in 48 states with a valid money license in the United States.
Wow.
And then Sequence, which is a wallet infrastructure, along with Trails, which is part of a Sequence, which is part of Sequence in terms of wallet infra. So now we have this new open money stack. Polygon chain interop. That's already solved by Polygon with the Ag layer. Now, Sequence brings the wallet infrastructure, and then CoinMe brings the on-ramp, off-ramp already regulated with actual users using the product straight to the main event. Now, we got to figure out a way to get more builders back into Polygon. But this is impressive. The fact that they did the right thing, just like Stripe, just like all of the mergers and acquisitions from last year, Luke, they acquired their way to put themselves back in the spotlight. I think this is very smart because 3-4 years ago, we were praising Polygon business development for doing amazing things. The partnership with Reddit, the partnership with Disney, the partnership with Starbucks, and a couple other major brands to bring all of that, at what was the time, NFT loyalty stuff on chain. They're bringing it back around with payments and onboarding, which I think it's going to be a pretty interesting 2026, specifically for Polygon in this day. Plus, they have the partnership with Revolut, the online bank. You can easily come into to Polygon now with a Revolut bank account. So I'll start with you with your thoughts on just making this a lot easier for regular people to get on chain.
Yeah, I think that's obviously something that's really important. It's like we need ecosystems that are willing to build not only just infrastructure, but the rails. And I mean, I think that's obviously what you're kind of seeing Polymarket do, is they're building out this entire ecosystem where it's all under their umbrella. So admittedly, I'm not like super familiar. I don't follow them too closely, but in general, what you cover, I mean, I think it's super awesome. It seems like they really could make some noise.
Thank you. So, Robert, I wanted to get your thoughts, specifically on this brings Polygon much bigger into the equation. A lot of times we were thinking that Polygon, frankly, was just going to fade away because back then, DeFi was Ethereum mainnet, BSC, which is Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon. And if you want to bring in, this was before the Avalanche Rush, Arbitrum, Optimism, all of that started. You can include Phantom Opera back in that discussion as well. This is a big deal for them, especially after moving from Matic to Paul. This is a huge part of just bringing the vision, bringing the Purple brand back into the forefront of what people are probably going to be using. For example, most Reddit people don't know if they have a DCA, which is a digital collectible avatar, that's still based on Polygon. Polymarket is based on Polygon. There's going to be a lot of Polygon things coming to the forefront. With RWAs and all of these things will be easily flowing through this system. They're just a perp dex away, in my opinion, from really possibly becoming an everything chain. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they were really like fading into irrelevance there for 2 or 3 years. With the big wave. I mean, during the real bear market, I mean, 2023, late 2022, 2023, with like the rise of all these hot new L2s or even L1s, they were just fading into irrelevance. So no, it's just interesting to see. I mean, like and the way that it's happening too, with the founder just basically performing a coup on his own company. I mean, it's good to see. I mean, I think the real question I have is, how does their consensus, how does their like tech and architecture and consensus mechanism kind of shake out compared to some of the more relevant players now? Like Solana and with perps, Hyperliquid obviously, but or even Base, which people think, oh well, Base is not really doing that much, but still has some stuff there, right? So Zora and the creator economy. I'm curious to see like how they kind of separate themselves out, like tech stack wise, because they can do all this stuff, but and they already have the edge here with Polymarket, and this payments thing is really a positive thing. But yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just curious to see how that kind of shakes out in terms of performance.
Yeah, I completely agree. This will be the one part that is going to be the hurdle that Polygon has to get over. What I will say is that, in using Katana, which is a layer 2 experiment from Polygon and GSR, a very large market maker, that uses the CDK ag layer infrastructure, it's fast, it's smooth, it's legitimate. If they can bring this to possibly a mobile first audience using CoinMe, using Sequence, and creating this new experience, even with the Revolut arm, this is huge for Polygon. This will be something that I think will be great, because they already have all the big tools, right? They have Uniswap, they have Sushi, they have Aave, they have Compound. They've got all of these very large, older protocols that are established on Polygon. Not with a ton of TVL, right? Because the leaders in TVL are going to be Solana, ETH Mainnet, Arbitrum, and then Base. But this does bring Polygon at least back into the conversation on what things can do. It's all about them executing at this point. If they can execute, make it mobile first, run it back with younger people to really just get them using on-chain things without realizing they're using on-chain things. Use Katana sometime. It's great. It's one click and it's amazingly fast and cheap. And if they can reproduce that experience, I'm really excited to see what happens. And we just no, we're good.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like a really big growth surface for DeFi. Is who can work accomplish the most in terms of like integration with apps that have a big user base, and the exposure to those ecosystems and chains kind of happens under the hood. So maybe you have Polygon integrating with other chains integrating with all these payments apps, and like you said, like the users don't even have to know which chain they're using.
Exactly.
But the ones who kind of win that race, so to speak, or who grow most effectively, will automatically have a corresponding amount of TVL on their chain. And so I think it's going to be kind of like under the hood, kind of invisible arms race to see who wins the sort of that sort of payments and services kind of game. I mean, a big one was Arbitrum and Robinhood, right? So that was a big win for Arbitrum. And those are going to be the big wins that kind of determine that race, and also give chains like Polygon a chance to come back. So.
Yeah, it'll be good. Again, want to thank Luke from Taoshi and Robert for being here. I love the conversation. Hopefully you're finding great value. Again, would love for you to check out our socials here along the bottom. Follow us there. Follow these gentlemen. We'll put their links in the post as well. Did want to take a quick break to talk about the mothership, and that is Beacon DeFi. Total Value Locked, our free group. Feel free to join us. It's free to join at school.com/beacon. Check out our group here. Free to join. It's just on the school platform. Check out our Start Here post. You'll get a message from myself and our CEO, Andrew, and you'll get more information on what our offerings are. From our Beacon Spotlight to our Beacon Challenge, where you can get your first dollar in DeFi within 48 hours, and plenty of other free content to get you started as a competent investor in the world of DeFi safely and securely. So, again, thanks for being here, guys. And please, if you want to learn more, if anything that we're talking about interests you, you want to learn more about how to get into Polygon, check us out, school.com/beacon. One partner at one point, I don't know if that's still going, of Polygon, and I think it still is, at least on the Web3 cloud side, is through Google. This Google. And one thing that they came out with on the 11th is UCP. So kind of throwing it around to AI agents. AI agents have become the really new hot commodity with regards to payments, trading, even just general usage for AI agents in terms of productivity, for helping with things like arbitrage, finding best rates, even just taking care of all of things that you don't want to do, like rebalancing pools and whatnot. All available with AI agents. The other part with AI agents is being able to pay for services by themselves. Last year, Google came out with their A2A protocol, A2P really. It's just an agent-to-agent payment protocol built on top of in conjunction with Coinbase's X402, which is an open standard for agents to communicate and do things like pay for their own gas, send money places, and now Google has created another bridge between agents from Web 3 now to Web 2 with this UCP. So AI agents get the value of not just APIs, not just MCPs, which is Model Context Protocol for those of you who understand how to develop in LLMs. Now you have UCP, which will allow you as a developer to get access to customers who are using Shopify, Etsy, Wayfair, Target, and Walmart. These are all piloted partners that already are in the mix to now just pay through AI agents and with crypto through the UCP. OnePay is one. Do you guys use OnePay at all?
I don't personally, no.
Okay.
I don't think I have, no.
I do, mainly because I don't like to pull out my wallet and, take my cards out and put them in the machines. I like using my phone to tap to pay on top of these filthy payment terminals. I'm kidding. It's not that bad. But Walmart is like the king of wanting to have their own stuff, right? They don't do tap to pay unless it's Walmart Pay. And in fact, you have to scan a QR code. OnePay is the first third-party thing that they have that they're allowing to do that. Now, OnePay has done some interesting things because they've now allowed you to also pay with crypto. They're also deep into this UCP portion as well. So, again, Luke, more of this movement from TradFi Web 2 into Web 3. We're really starting to see the integration at the core where people are buying groceries, paying for goods and services on places like Walmart and Target, Etsy, Shopify. Very easy, in the palm of their hands type of commerce.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like kind of the start of a broader movement, right? I mean, I think we've generally been moving in this direction for probably the last couple of years now, but I think it's been more of a fantasy for blockchain and Web3 guys. But now we're actually starting to see, this come into play in the real world, which is obviously really exciting. Like being able to, tap to pay using even stable coins, things like that. It's awesome. So, I mean, I think we're just going to continue to see more and more things like this, and at some point soon it won't even really be news. It's just going to be more of the standard. Like you're going to see more and more integrations and more rails that bridge Web 2 into Web 3.
Yeah, Robert, you're down there in Mexico. I mean, stuff like this will probably start to become bigger because I know OnePay is mostly a U.S. offerings, but there's going to be more people like Unlimited Crypto and some of these other, transnational groups trying to bring local fiat currency on chain to easily pay for things. We're not going to be at the levels of like South Korea and Japan at this point, but we're going to get close, especially with how closely this will all start to be integrated so that, frankly, it doesn't matter where your money comes from. And that's the key part. Right? That's the part that I think anyone who's in the audience who doesn't really understand crypto and digital assets needs to understand is that this is a better way for you if you're farming, rather creating profits or just putting your money to decentralized finance to get better risk-adjusted returns than you would at your bank. You can now use those profits, that money that you're putting out there in blockchains and easily just spending it locally. And that's a really big differentiator for this year than what we've had for the past 5 years combined, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think in emerging markets, like I'm in Mexico, as you know, but I think it's going to be probably quite a while before these local currencies are spendable. Like, I mean, before there's like a Mexican peso stablecoin, for example, I think that's going to be some years off. Typically, these developing nations are at least a few years behind, usually. Sometimes like decades behind, but there will be for example, with MetaMask, for example, I have a MetaMask card, and I registered using my residency here in Mexico. So it's like, if you're a resident of Mexico or a citizen of Mexico, you can apply for a MetaMask card and just spend in USD. And that's going to be the next wave of stablecoin proliferation, right? But based in USD, probably not in local currency.
Now, for that MetaMask card, you have to have money on Linea, correct?
Yeah, but they just expanded it to base as well.
Really? Oh, that's the smartest thing they could have done. That was totally gonna be a segue to the next part of Linea. But yeah, no, completely love that, because for those who don't know, Robert is bankless, and then that's the key part about this, is that he's living in this ecosystem where he can move his money wherever he wants. Doesn't really matter. And that's the beautiful part about decentralized finance, about being in Web3. And being bankless doesn't mean that, you're out of services. You just have many more that you can use. It's all up to your energy and self-custody to move that money back and forth. Just wanted to bring this up really quickly before we move on. SharpLink, one of the big ETH DATCOs, digital asset treasury companies, has dropped 170 million in ETH onto Linea, which, for those who are not aware, Linea is the big winner for SWIFT, which is the major network that a lot of central banks use around the world. They have more than 11,500 members within the SWIFT ecosystem. Linea is going to be the drop-off point based on that tech, along with Chainlink's off-chain Oracle, to bring institutional traffic on-chain onto Ethereum. So them putting in 170 million in partnership with both EtherFi, Anchorage Digital, and EigenCloud. This is big news. 170 million is not a small contribution to the that's probably a big portion of their TVL right now, if I'm being very honest. So that's big news for Linea. Congrats to Consensus. Congrats to friend of the show, Declan Fox, who's the head of Linea. And yeah, really excited to see that. Last thing we'll talk about, guys, is the movement with RWAs. Now my screen's not moving. Screen's not moving. Ruh-roh.
In the show of technical difficulties, unfortunately.
I know. It's weird. Let me switch out, come back in. There we go. That's weird. Well, anyway, World Liberty Financial, famously, the U.S. president's DeFi terminal here, they have gone live. They didn't go with Aave for this. They could have, but congrats to Chase Harrow and the rest of the founding team from Dolomite. They are deeply intertwined with World Liberty in terms of advising. And Dolomite's now the marketplace for World Liberty Financial. So you should see markets on Dolomite for World Liberty denominated in USD1, which is their stablecoin. They've gotten a couple billion in circulation now with USD1. So that's big news for the Trump media empire. So this is Dolomite, making some headway here. As a major lending AMM in the space, and that's available. Dolomite's on a couple of different places. They're on ETH Mainnet, Arbitrum, Sonic, Barrett Chain, and Base, if I'm not mistaken, and probably soon BNB Chain, because that's where the majority of liquidity outside of Ethereum Mainnet, that USD1 is located. So, although they just expanded to Solana, so that we'll see more of that soon. Canton Network. We talked about Canton. We've talked about it a lot. I'm fairly bullish on CC, if you guys have been following along. So Canton Network is a multi-year project that's been around since 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Many different institutions, Goldman, JP Morgan, they're now going to be deploying JPMD, their dollar for institutions, onto Canton. Microsoft, Google, every major company you can think of that has blockchain ties has tested on Canton Network because they wanted an Ethereum-based solution with smart contracts with controls, which is the big part that's huge. Now, they have, well, I don't have the right article here, but DTCC, which is huge for securities, is now going to be coming over to Canton Network. So big news there. And also RWAs, which are real world assets. Most of them are on T-bills, but precious metals, commodities like oil, even rice. I've seen chickens and real estate as RWA backed commodities. Now that we're going to be tokenizing all of the stocks and all of the equities and bringing them on chain, they've passed $20 billion in market cap, roughly. I wanted to get your thoughts, specifically, Luke, on this because you deal with these types of markets. Forex being another big one that a lot of people are going to be looking to. That's exactly what I thought of, Robert, when you mentioned the Mexican peso. Local commerce probably going to take a while, but Forex commerce up and to the right, specifically with RWAs and tokenization and bringing Forex on chain. The ability for operators to salivate at the idea of bringing $7 trillion in liquidity on chain is the next, probably the biggest priority. So wanted to get your thoughts specifically, Luke, because you are deep into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a massive gap that Web3 has failed to address, is really just generally Forex on chain.
Yep.
I mean, it's something we're trying to solve for in the trading realm with 0x markets, which would enable you to trade Forex on a DEX, like Forex pairs like Euro USD, for example. So I think that we're going to see a lot of innovative solutions that do help bring Forex-related markets on chain. Like I said, I mean, it's a huge gap. There's massive, massive opportunity here for the people that can address what's needed and take advantage of this opportunity while it persists.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of people who tried to do Forex. Even as early as Gaines Network, Robert, on both Polygon and Arbitrum, they've had access to Forex derivatives for a long time. But to bring it all on chain with high frequency trading, really deep liquidity, well backed across multiple ecosystems, and make it look good is something that is going to be probably a very high priority for a lot of market making and a lot of perp dexes here in this space. So what are your thoughts overall on where RWAs you think are going to be going? Because interestingly enough, if we look at this page, it's not just RWAs for T-bills. We're also looking at things even here like Fanable, which is collectibles, which is things like things like Pokemon and Top Shot and baseball cards, whiskey, watches, all these things.
Yeah, I think it's not just going to be T-bills.
Yep,
that's for sure. I think it's going to be. I'm not gonna say like the return of NFTs, but it's gonna be like, I mean, it's gonna be something in that direction, And also, when you saw those experiments, kind of early on with the tokenization or tokenization of NFTs. So you'd have an NFT collection or an NFT, and it could be divided into, or it could have its own token basically, which divides
fractional ownership to a degree. Yeah,
fractional ownership. That's right. Yeah. So I think we'll see a lot of that. We'll see a lot of fractional ownership of real estate, maybe even of businesses, right? I mean, but in a way that's like not just equities or commodities, but it'll be it's gonna just merge with everything else in terms of overall tokenization of everything. Yeah. So.
Sorry, I'm just looking to see if I have it. Here I do. Last thing we'll talk about before we head home. Solana Seeker, right here. This is it. It's an Android smartphone, the second version of Solana Mobile. Main reason why we got this is mainly because we want the ROI, the different types of different types of airdrops and whatnot that'll be happening, which have been happening. If you're active on the Seeker ecosystem, multiple groups are looking to just throw money at you, which is really the main reason why I have this oversized, beautiful hardware wallet. But the token TGE event is going to be on January 21st. There's more than, I guess, 265 dApps apparently now in the Seeker ecosystem. But yeah, January 21st is when Seeker is going to launch. You're going to get a specific allocation based on your activity up until this point, based on what you're doing in the ecosystem, how you're using your Seeker phone, signing up with your wallet, getting into the seed wallet that's on here, that has biometrics on it, and going and checking out different ecosystems. That's the reward for going out and being curious. So being able to get enough airdrops to pay for the device, which is really all that we got it for, to be honest, me and pretty much everyone on the team, because some people in our group got the original Solana Saga, the first phone, and they got $500 in bonk before it got listed on Coinbase, which sent it skyrocketing in terms of value. So looking for a repeat. History doesn't repeat itself, but often it rhymes. So that's hopefully the idea that I'm thinking of. So if you have a Seeker phone, register it, start signing up for some of these things. There's multiple protocols if you do the research. At least 15 off the top of my head that are giving you incentives for signing up for different types of drops on your phone that'll hopefully pay for the original price of it, which is what you're looking for in something like this. So I don't think either of you own a Seeker phone, but could you imagine if your next phone paid for itself through activities that you use it with?
Certainly would be nice.
That's the next big 10x thing in BitTensor, right? Get a BitTensor phone. Could you imagine that, Luke? You buy a phone from a BitTensor subnet that pays you in alpha tokens because your phone is powerful enough to be a node on the network. You all get that one for free. You all get that one for free.
That's a good subnet idea. There should be more DPIN on
exactly.
More DPIN on BitTensor. Yeah.
I'm calling you out, Subnet 65 TPN. Get on it. Create phones that can be their own VPN nodes and pay people passively for using their traffic when they're not using it, like a DPIN node, really, like what Grass and other things are doing to help route traffic for people using BitTensor's infrastructure. Man, the things I think of when we're in the moment here on this show.
I remember you ordering that phone like a year ago or more. Maybe.
Oh yeah, Andrew was famous for being on the show. I think it was February of 2024. He was on the show and ordered it to get it, and it came out. It came to him, I think, June of last year is when it came out. So again, I want to thank our guest today, the great Luke Growth at Taoshi. How are you? Thanks for being here, sir. And anything that you want to talk about, let's talk about things that are going on with Taoshi.
Yeah, I think the main thing that we're keyed on internally right now is the launch of Vanta Trading. We just announced that on social media. Really, it's just a full decentralized prop firm built on top of our subnet on BitTensor. So we're really excited to get that out here in February. We're on track for launch there. Should be great, and we'll have our website up there soon. Really just rolled out socials and Discord. So just trying to differentiate from what you see in the traditional prop trading industry, which is a lot of predatory practices against traders, denied payouts, etc. And we're looking to shake that model up through the decentralized infrastructure that BitTensor provides. So that's our big focus right now. We also have some other exciting news in the pipeline, which should be probably be shared in the next couple of weeks. I'll leave it at that. And
we will share that as a thankful partner with Taoshi. Subnet number 8, can I still say that? The proprietary trade network?
the Vanta Network.
The Vanta Network.
Vanta Network is just a rebrand for Subnet 8. I think proprietary trading network was, I don't know, a mouthful. Vanta Network flows better, so they're the same. And then Vanta Trading is just kind of UI UX layer on top of that abstracts away all of the technicalities of BitTensor and whatnot, that allows you to trade and earn real USD rewards for your trading capabilities. So
Love it.
we're testing that internally right now on testnet, and we'll have that live in February.
Hey, there's some alpha for you. Yeah, love the stuff that they're doing over there. Some of the most intelligent traders I've ever seen at Taoshi. Robert, my friend, what do you want to push? You want to talk about yourself on Twitter?
Yeah, catch me on Twitter on X at Omega__84. Yeah, I'm going to be at ETH Denver in a little over a month, so I'll probably see
we
you
both
there.
are.
Yeah. Are you heading there, Luke?
No, I will not be.
Okay.
Sag.
Yes, I'll be at ETH Denver. I do actually want to, if I can, I want to actually catch the BitTensor conference in SF in late March, I think it is.
Yeah, I believe that's. Yeah, I'm not positive, but
I would consider that. I would consider going to that. Austin was great fun. Really enjoyed the experience in Austin. And Luke, man, the magic of the Bears, brother. The magic of the Bears. Just saw the hat. I was like, wearing a Bears hat.
Yeah, man. I'm very, very proud Bear fan this week. I'm going to the game this week.
It's called Exploit.
With the old man. So
it's called Exploit. Hey,
no,
they're going to need... Oh, the conference is called... I thought you were talking about Luke wearing a Bears hat to exploit their odds. We'll have to check on Polymarket or Kalshi. Okay, yeah, BitTensor Exploit's the next one in March.
Yeah, that sounds right.
We'll have to figure that out. Yeah, great teams, great subnets. Check out BitTensor. Very bullish on BitTensor overall. That's Tau with that coin. So, yeah, huge network of digital super commodities powered by LLMs and various adjacent tech. Worth your time to do your research on. So, with that said, we'll have another panel next week here on our show. We've done this show every week since December 2021. Our goal to educate you, our dear users, on the news of the week and how it can be effective to you through some of the greatest minds and friends that I have here in Web3. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here this week. We'll see you next week, 1 p.m. Eastern, as always, here on our Total Value Locked podcast. So see you on the show. Beacons up. Banks down. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Keep the rally going.
Serious.